Hey everybody, I am Kaylee Pino, and for my documentary on our engagement project, I did period, end of sentence. So I'm Kaylee, I'm in my pre-professional year, and I am really enjoying this class. Okay, so to begin with the plot, this takes place in India, and it is centered around the topic of menstruation and about the knowledge that comes with it, more or less. So to begin with, the documentary starts by interviewing all ages of women and men about what a period was. Really, the women treated it as a very taboo topic, and the men just didn't know. So here is a short clip about that.
Can you explain what is this? Why are you not answering?
नहीं तो भगवान ने पता हो।
यहाँ पे किसको पता है पीरियड्स क्या होते हैं? नाम सुना है?
ये तो ये
घंटे वाले पीरियड्स जो मतलब कॉलेज में चलते हैं। नहीं।
Okay, so as you guys can see, periods are a very taboo topic in the India culture. So this one man kind of set out with a different mission. His name is, and I'm really sorry if I butcher this, but it's Arunchalam. I'll put his name in the comments. But he set out with a mission to make India a 100% napkin using country, opposed to the current 10% that use it right now. Okay, so he intended to do this by inventing a low-cost sanitary napkin machine, and he installed it in the village that these women that were interviewed live in, and he showed them how to use it. So in the picture in this slide, you can see all of the women learning how to shred up the cotton that is used in the pads. In further slides, I'm going to go over a little bit detail about how they made them. The documentary carries on about the women making over 18,000 pads. They named their company Fly because they are working very hard for women independence, and they want women to rise and fly. So anyways, the documentary carries on to these women being able to go to their first day of sales. So they go to all of the villages and towns around them, and they all go door to door to vendors asking if they will sell their product. So within their first day, they make over 180 rupees. In India, that is quite a bit for women to make on their own without any help from men. Just to put it into perspective, that would transfer over to $3.12 in Canadian dollars, and they sold tons of pads, tons. So the entire goal of this mission was to make cheap and affordable pads that would be secure and absorb. So they made tons of pads and they sold them. They did excellent on their first day, and just this one day alone in sales offered the women financial stability in the future. These women were making a point to show that they can create opportunities for themselves in a male-dominated society. So in the next slides, you are going to see a few different steps on how they made the pads, and this one coming up. This was the paper being attached to the tissue that had been pressed. In this one, this is right after the cotton had been pressed. And this one is the finishing touches. She is cutting the edges into formation. Now we're going to go over our key learnings. Okay, for number 1, I have it as the lack of knowledge will create a taboo topic in a society. So the reason I have this is that no men really understood what a period was. And even if they did understand to some degree, they had no clue what women were dealing with. And I think that is pretty evident when you watch the documentary and even in the trailer clip that I showed. So that is number 1. Now, number 2 is that gaining knowledge can end a taboo. because in the documentary, as it progressed and women became more familiar with what they were doing and making napkins and helping other women, it became less of a taboo, less embarrassing, and less of a joke because they treated it as a job. It offered them security. It offered them financial stability. Okay, and number 3 is, in a male-dominated culture, women can be extremely empowering if they can create the opportunity. So, in the beginning, the man that invented the machine gave them the opportunity to provide their own well-being. The reason that the women ran it is because they did not feel as if the nature of their job could be discussed with men. Periods are still a very private thing in this culture. And so creating this opportunity gave women a level of belonging in their family because they were able to support other people. They were not depending on somebody to support them. That made major groundbreaking in this culture because independence is like a term that was unheard of. And they go over that in the documentary. Overall, knowledge or the lack of can create or end a taboo topic in a society. As the documentary carried on, you've seen that the scary factor to menstruation kind of wore off towards the end. And if women can create the opportunity for their presence in society, they can be extremely empowering. Just by being able to make these pads, they offer themselves financial stability, a sense of belonging, and the ability to hold individualism. That is going to wrap up my presentation about period end of sentence. You guys can find it on Netflix. It's a Netflix original, or you can also find it on YouTube. I recommend watching it. It definitely opened my eyes and made me realize that I had a lack of knowledgement in understanding how other societies approach menstruation.